What's up, everybody? It's your boy here, Cheap Ass Statue Collector. Welcome to today's video, and today I have with me a Queen Studios statue, Iron Man Mark 7, I believe. Yeah, 1/4 scale. This is a really cool statue, so let's get right into it. Right. So first off, you guys know, I'd like to talk about the pose. The pose is really cool. It's probably one of my favorite Iron Man poses, besides the Iron Man 2 statue from Sideshow where he's doing his side blast. This is really cool. If we start from the base, right, the rocks are really dynamic. They're kind of falling downward, and they're not all facing the same way. And then on top of that, we've got Iron Man locked into those rocks. And he's, I don't know if he's flying down, coming down, or going up. It looks like he's kind of coming down with the rocks. Either way, it's a really cool action pose, but it's almost like a museum pose at the same time. I think they nailed it. I think this is one of their best ones in Queen Studios' line of statues, for at least the pose. This is the most dynamic, but it's also it's a nice still shot of Iron Man in a cool pose. The jets on the back of his, I don't know if they're jets or what they are, but the wings are popping up. It's really cool. So he's like descending. It's really cool. I really like it a lot. There's nothing else I could say except for that it's super cool. So the next thing we want to talk about really is the paint. Now, let's start with the base. The base on the paint is pretty generic, just like any other statue that has just a rock concrete base. There's nothing really to be wowed about. It's very generic. It's very dull, which is fine. It's rubble. It looks the same as any other base out there. As we move on up from the base to Iron Man, we have really nice looking red and gold. This is the traditional Iron Man Mark 7 look from the movies. It is more of a matte finish than a chrome silver shiny finish. I don't know if that's movie accurate or not. I've seen some people take like a high finish gloss and spray paint this. I'm gonna leave it the way it is. I think it looks pretty cool with the finish that it has, that it's not super glossy. It might be really hard to tell, but on the back of the statue, where the gold is, or where the gold is in general, it does have a little bit more of a gloss look to it, maybe a satin look, and the red is a little bit more matte. So I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I think it looks good that way. Could it be more shiny? I don't know. I'm pretty amazed with this statue, so I'm kind of biased at the same time. So on that part, I don't know. I don't know. But overall, in general, they did try to give it more of a beat up look. He's not perfectly clean like the XM statue, where it's perfectly, it's a perfectly clean Iron Man suit. There's definitely dirt and mud on the shoes. Around the suit, there are beat up marks, there are burn marks on the thighs and on the chest plate. It's not too distressed though, so I think it looks pretty dope. And even on the face, you do have a few distress marks on the face, so that's really cool. The third thing we're going to talk about is sculpt details, and again, we're going to start with the base. The base is sculpted really nice. You've got some rubble down here at the bottom, and then you've got these rocks falling down, and there's a lot of detail. There's a rebar coming off. The rocks themselves are kind of flattish. They do have a little bit of groove and textures in them. But, I mean, it looks like it's supposed to be like road, because there's two lines here, so it is going to be kind of flat. So, yeah, I don't care about the base too much. It looks cool. The details in Iron Man are awesome. There's definitely a lot of little textures here and there within the knee and in the back and the side, but it looks pretty typical of an Iron Man. Where you see most of the details are like in the foot or the other parts that are kind of coming off of him, right? If you look at his thighs, these pieces are actually magnetic, or not? Yeah, they are magnetic, and they just pop on right here. And then the other details that you might notice are in the hands. These pieces right here actually hold. Above the hand, there's little plastic pieces with two little notches on them. They actually sit inside. They actually hold the battery of the hand reactors. And the back of Iron Man, you've got the two wings that kind of sit in there. And you've got this cool looking missile coming up. It's really awesome. You've got the tiny little missiles on his shoulder. The arc reactor detail, it actually looks like an arc reactor. It's not just a plain white, like arc reactor that you see on some of the older pieces. The price was like $600 or $700 or whatever. I got it from Spec Fiction. They were actually able to ship this to me pretty quickly after they got all their orders in. So big thanks to those guys over there at Spec Fiction. Hopefully that's the correct name. I know it's Speculative Fiction or something like that. I'm blanking on the guy's name that everyone calls out on the Facebook pages, but that's where I got it from. I can send you guys a link. Actually, it's sold out. But either way, you could probably get in contact with them and maybe pick up other future pieces. But they were definitely able to ship me a Queen Studios piece, no problem. And the shipping was not bad at all. I think like $120 for this. You know, how well does this go up against some of Sideshow's Grail? I don't know if we call them Grail. That's a strong word that everyone uses too much. Original Sideshow Iron Man pieces that I think are iconic and classic and perfect for an Iron Man movie collection. We'll get right into that. But first, before we do that, I wanted to go ahead and talk to everyone about some of the things that I do and don't like. So first things first, the pieces for the arm, or the pieces that sit on top of the hands that hide the battery and the light, there's two pegs in them, and you have to sit them in there. And every time you do that, you may or may not have come in contact with part of the hand of the statue, which you could potentially scratch. And matching this red is going to be hard. Maybe, I don't know. But still, that's a problem. And the same thing with the reactor is you have to pull this off, which has magnets on it, and then turn the light on. Same goes with the head. And the head is actually really close to the shoulder part. So I could definitely see someone scratching that off, or scratching some of the paint if they're not careful. This doesn't have a plug on it where you could just hit the switch and turn it on. And there's pros and cons to that, right? The pro to this is these lights come out, and you can replace the LED lights potentially with other lights, and you can change the batteries, no problem. And LED lights last a really long time, and so you replacing these LEDs is real easy. You're not going to be screwed, and the statue's not going to be a dead statue without any LEDs if it traditionally had LEDs. So that's cool. And the other thing about it though is it's a pain in the ass to put on and off. The good thing for me is longevity, I guess, right? So I don't have to worry about the LEDs failing, or the wiring failing inside the body. I don't ever turn on LEDs anyways, but I'm probably not going to go ahead and I'll show you. Take this off and then pull this out. Put that in. Put it in. There you go. That, I guess that's cool for a minute, but I'm really, and then you got to do that. I think you have to do that with the hands. The problem is I don't have the correct batteries for the hands and the face reactors or the lights. They require some really small batteries that I'm going to have to get off on Amazon. I went to the dollar store and some other places. I couldn't find them. But I did have the batteries for the arc reactor, some standard batteries. So that I'm really not 100% sure how you turn those on. I think you just tighten them and they turn on, I think, and then you just loosen it. For me, that's kind of a pain in the ass. The good thing is I don't ever light those other statues up anyways, so I could take the batteries out and then not have to worry about corrosion. That was my gripe about that. The statue is kind of heavy. I haven't weighed it, but it does have a nice weight to it, and I think a lot of it is in the base. The other parts that I don't like are, besides the snap-on parts that you have to take off to turn the lights on, are these back parts. There's basically just one peg for each one, at least for these two bottom ones, and they just kind of slide in there, and they are held up by these little metal pieces here, kind of, and they're in there, they're not in there tight. They're just like, it's a nice slide in, set it in. So just be careful. And these ones have magnets on the top. So just be careful if you're going to move it around that they don't pop off and you don't bend it, or not bend it, but you don't tip it over. I don't know. I haven't moved it yet from this table. I don't know what I'm talking about. Studios. Let's go ahead and get the other Iron Man on the table. Okay, so we're live. We're live in the house. Okay, so really quick, let me run this down really quick for you guys. We've got War Machine, Mark 3, Mark 7, and Mark 5 or something, or 3 or 2. I don't know. There's too many Iron Men. I love Iron Man, but I'm not like a super Iron Man nerd where I know all the suits and everything. But I love the way it looks. I think it's really cool. I do want to mention out to the people that collect statues, though. I need to dust these out, and with these other things with these little back plates of this Iron Man, you're going to want to be careful when you're dusting and stuff, or you use a blowgun that you don't blow these things right off the statue. So yeah, that's kind of a nitpick right there. But here you go, guys. Here they are right here. War Machine right here. He is a matte gray. You've got some two shiny Iron Man over here. So maybe he does stand out a little bit that he's not super shiny. And you know, by far, I think this guy, I think Queen Studios nailed it with this guy, and it definitely holds up with the Sideshow statues. I want to say they're equal. There might be a little bit more detail in the arc reactor, but if you look at like the Mark II or something, I don't remember. That guy, yeah, the one in the original Iron Man movie, he's got a lot of paint detail on him. I remember reviewing him. They put mud all over the shoes, which a lot of people hate, which is fine. But if you look up the statue, you see it in the crevices of the armor as well, and it goes all the way up, right? So it makes a little bit more sense. And there's just a ton of damage done on that statue, and there's a lot of sculpt detail on that statue as well. And I know Queen Studios is doing a version of that Iron Man. I'm just looking at that one. I'm just in awe. It's a huge statue. It's a huge base too. And I've got the EX, so I've got the head, and so this is, unless I see pictures that look better than this Sideshow one, I'm keeping this one for sure. And obviously, I don't think Queen Studios made any of these two. I don't think they could have beat this pose though. And this War Machine is badass because it really is a companion piece with this statue. But really, I just want to throw this one in the mix, maybe add some more Iron Man statues in the future from Queen Studios, and have a little Iron Man family. So I'm pretty happy with it, you guys. I'm sure you can nitpick some other stuff, and I'm sure there's some other people out there that aren't going to buy it because of whatever, blah, 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 blah. If you like a statue, you like the way it looks, and it's not too expensive, and it's not going to put you in debt, then, you know, F what everybody else is saying. I know there's reviewers out there, I don't know if there is or not, I hear this, that, you know, in general, they're going to be a little bit biased, or they're not going to be as critical because they are getting a kickback here and there, or they don't want to be upsetting a lot of people because they want to be invited to things, they want to be able to be sent things, so they're not going to be as critical. Or the worst case scenario is that they might shit on a piece because they are biased towards another company, right? And then their followers are all, you know, get on the Facebook and say, oh my God, that's a shit piece, blah, 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 right? So don't listen to those people. What you need to do is you need to look at pictures in hand, and then eventually try to go to a store somewhere maybe, or look at pictures in hand if that's the best you got, and look at all the reviews and of people doing close-ups of these statues, and then make your decision. Don't make your decision based off of people online complaining, people on Facebook, or some type of YouTuber, right? Some YouTuber telling you it's great. You want to use the YouTuber for just to look at the piece itself. If you respect their opinion, that's great. Hopefully they're going to shoot you straight. But really what you need to do then, after you think you like the piece enough, then you need to look at the edition size. Is it a small edition size and you really like it, then you better buy it. You might even want to pre-order it. If it's not a small edition size, then you have time to wait, maybe see it in hand somewhere, and then pick it up, on one of these websites or on eBay for a much cheaper price. That's the whole point. When I used to say wait for the edition size to pre-order, it was because you don't want to lock up money on pieces that are going to be everywhere and cheap. Instead, what you want to do is if you've got extra cash flow or you've got some points or this and that, put it on something that's that's going to be a little bit harder to find, something that's a little bit more expensive. Every now and then the Grail pops up that you didn't know is going to pop up, and then you need to use that money to hopefully snag that Grail really quick. So that's just my opinion, though. I'm just the cheap-ass statue collector, and so my perspective is a little bit different than some. I'm not a millionaire. So when I do buy this stuff, I do try to get a good deal, and I make sure that I get the right thing for myself. And the other thing, too, you guys want to be careful about with this line, with lines or statue lines, is make sure you only buy the things that you really, really want in the line, or else you're going to have a bunch of statues that you don't like to look at. And that happens to everyone, and I know it does, because it's happened to me. You end up buying statues because, this is part of the line. I need this for the line. This is their line. This is the Queen Studio line. This is the Sideshow line. This is whatever the line is. And really what you need to do is just buy the statues you like within those lines. And that way, when it comes time to maybe make room to sell some stuff because you see something new that's you coming out, you're not going to do it. You're going to look at your collection and you're going to be like, well, I really like these statues, I'm not going to sell them, right? Or if you didn't do that, you're going to look at some of these statues and be like, I don't like half of those, but I do like those. And then you're going to eventually sell them, right? So, and I'm talking from experience, and so I've been doing this for a good while now, almost a decade. And obviously I'm not the oldest collector here, but I've been around for a minute, and I've got a ton of pieces, and I've sold and bought a lot of statues. So yeah, I'm really happy to share with you guys the Iron Man Queen Studios Mark 7. Hopefully I'll get some other Queen Studio statues in as well. Maybe the new Wonder Woman 1/4 and some other Iron Man in the future. And I will be glad to share those with you and take pictures and videos and share that as well. So thank you guys. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment, and tell me what you guys think of this statue and if you're picking it up or not. All right, guys. Cool. Thanks. Peace.